I'm Mary Schley, and I'm a costume designer. And I came about being a costume designer, I guess, in a circuitous way, but I always really liked clothes. And I went to the Yves Saint Laurent exhibit in New York at the Met when I was really young, and it transformed my idea of what clothes could be. And I was an English major in college, and I kind of was a free spirit. I moved to Los Angeles on a whim, and when I was here, I realized that storytelling and clothes came together in costume design. And so it seemed like a natural marriage for me of many of the different things that I loved to do and was interested in. So when I first started in costume design, I basically got a job as a PA and a costumer. And then as I did it, I realized I really wanted to go back to school for fashion design, and I went back to do fashion design. And I designed my first film, which is like an independent, tiny little feature, and realized I really wanted to also design clothes. So I went back to fashion school. And then it really just led me deeper into costume design after that. And I would work in mainstream television, and then I would do independent film. And they were both totally different experiences. And I worked for amazing, wonderful costume designers. And it's through independent film that I really started designing costumes. The show that I'm designing currently is called Transparent. It's on Amazon Prime, and we're currently filming the 3rd season. It's been a pretty incredible experience. I worked with Jill Soloway before on her independent feature Afternoon Delight, and we had an incredible experience on that. I read the script for Afternoon Delight, and Jill's a feminist, and it really spoke to me. It had a female protagonist. She was a female director. I'd never worked with a female director before. And some of the themes and concepts were just as specific to a female director and a female writer. And that film went on to win the Director's Award at Sundance, and then we collaborated on Transparent. She wrote me an email to say, I've got this pilot, I'm going to do it at Amazon. And it's based loosely on my personal experience. My parent came out as transgender late in life, and now I'm going to do a show about that with a parent who's coming out late in life with 3 adult children. And we shot the pilot, and we didn't shoot the series for a year later. So it's been an incredible experience. When we first shot that pilot, you couldn't even Google transgender on the lot that we were working on. It was considered pornography. And so we're in such a different space right now, even in the 3rd season, which is, we shot the pilot in 2013. But there's still so much more progress to be made in terms of transgender rights and stuff like that. But it's, and this show's been a beautiful creative experience, but it's also always been linked directly to a political movement that's happening. I mean, Jill says very openly she created the show to create awareness and a safer world for her parent to live in. And so that's been a really exciting place to be creatively too. So as I've lived with this character for multiple seasons, the approach has been constantly evolving. I had a lot of assumptions of what season 2 would be like based on season 1 and previous experiences in television, which is you kind of settle into that character and you keep going with it. But we had created a world in season 1, and when we came back a year later for season 2, it was very clearly apparent that Jill wanted to disrupt what we had, settled into by the end of season 1. There is a phrase that when someone in a family transitions, everybody transitions. And so this show evolves constantly, and the characters in it are all searching to find themselves and who they are. So season 1 was a smaller story about a family and characters, and season 2 opened up to the world and became about a family living within a culture and a world, and it became a much bigger show, and it was much more about ideas too than the first season. So we started again from the beginning in terms of costumes. Everyone changed. I would bring in my first fitting photographs to Jill, and she'd be like, Mary, everyone's changing. This has to be totally different. This is last year, this is season 1. This, Gabby's character, for instance, is a perfect example. She was very depressed and insecure and was just starting to sense that she was maybe non-conforming and sexually and as a person. And by season 2, she's on a full exploration of herself in the world and as a woman who doesn't want to conform to a binary. And it shows in her clothes. She's just always experimenting with patterns and vintage things she finds, and Maura is much more settled into herself as a woman and more confident. And Sarah, who's the oldest daughter, the first season leaves her husband for her college girlfriend, and beginning of season 2, she breaks off her marriage immediately to her girlfriend, and is very sort of saddened and depressed and doesn't understand why can't find someone to be with, and she goes into a very depressed state. And Jay, who plays Josh, the son, the first season, he's a music industry executive. He has tons of girlfriends. He's full of himself. And then season 2, he really wants to grow up. And so he had to completely shift his clothes as well. So where once he was really trendy, maybe a little too trendy, by season 2, he's trying to mature and become more sophisticated and more grounded. What advice would I give to someone who wants to be a costume designer? I think the most important thing is to know what kind of things interest you. I mean, I think, speaking from my personal experience, when I read Jill's script the first time, it really spoke to ideas and concepts that I was always kind of swimming with. And I think that inspires you, and it brings that sense of play and excitement to work. I don't think it's always a straight path, or there's an A to B to C kind of route. I mean, obviously not for me. I've kind of done a lot of different things. I think it's really just focusing on what you enjoy, what interests you, and what you can bring to that.